Okay, let's continue with the second part of our lesson 7, which is about retirement pay, no? So I made some changes from this from uh, with the slide, no? Since we go directly with the computation last on part 1. Okay, so the next benefit is about retirement, no? So for the coverage, uh, the employee shall be retired upon reaching the age of 60 years old or more, but not beyond 65 years old, and have served the establishment for at least 5 years. Okay, so for this one, this provision applies to private employees, no? However, there are some special uh, workers, no, like miners, OFW, seafarers. They have separate provision on that, but we will not discuss that this time, but we'll just focus on the standards, no? So again, the employee who is already 60 years old or but not beyond 65 years old and have served the establishment for at least 5 years. So please take note of the conjunction and. So in other words, the two must be present when the employee, the employee will be qualified for the retirement pay, no? So the employee must first be 60 years old but not more than 65 and have served the establishment for at least 5 years. So in other words, the employee is already is has been working in the company of that same company, no, one company for at least 5 years. And the employee's age is now, for example, 60 years old. So with that, the employee can be entitled to file a retirement pay. Now, for example, if the employee is already 65 and then the employee is just work for 3 years on that establishment, for example. Now, the question is, can the employee be entitled for retirement pay having 65 years old and work for 3 years on that company? Of course not, no. The employee cannot avail the retirement pay because the employee wasn't able to comply the requirement for the minimum of 5 years. Okay? So again, for the exception, of course, government employees, since they have their separate rules on civil service, and then employees of retail, service, and agriculture establishments operations regularly employing not more than 10 employees. Okay. Then on the amount of retirement, based on Article 302 of the Labor Code, the minimum retirement pay shall be equivalent to 1/2 monthly salary for every year of service. So a fraction of at least 6 months being considered as a whole year. So with this phrase, 6 months, fraction of 6 months, it's the same with the separation, no? So if the employee already, after those full years, has served the company for at least 6 months, then the 6 months there can be counted as one full year, no? Now, how much will be the amount? 1/2 month salary for every year of service. Okay, so these are the following compositions on the retirement. So it is actually equivalent to 22.5 days now because of, again, 1/2 month salary, that's 15 days salary of your basic pay, no? On, of course, the latest salary rate. So uh, whatever is your basic pay when you retire, so that will be the basis in computing your retirement pay. And also the 5 days cash equivalent of your service incentive leave. And 2.5, which is 1/2 of 13th month pay. So the formula there, 1/2, 1 over 12, I'm sorry, not 1/2, 1 over 12 of 13th month pay times 365 days, that one whole year, no, divided by 12. So you will get 0.083 times 30.41. So you will get 2.5. Okay. So the total there is 22.5 days. So that will be the retirement pay. Of course, the formula to get the retirement pay based on that uh, on the previous slide. So your minimum retirement pay will be equivalent to the daily rate times 22.5 days. The 22.5 days compositions was already shown on the previous slide, no? And of course, multiplied by the number of years in service. Again, fraction of 6 months is equivalent to 1 year. Okay, so let's have an example. Assuming the employee already worked, I think I have an example. Yeah, here, illustration. So employee A is now 65 years old and has served the company for 15 years. Her basic pay is 15,000 and working regularly for 6 days a week. How much is her retirement pay? So first, you need to get the daily rate of the employee. So if the basic pay is 15,000 multiplied by 12 months, so you use the formula you've learned on the previous topics we had. So again, 15,000 times 12 months divided by 13 days, since the employee works regularly for 6 days a week. So that's 313 days based on the Dole handbook, no? Or the factor provided by Dole. So the daily rate of the employee is 575.08. So using the formula for the retirement, so you multiply it by 22.5 days times 15 years. Okay, so you will get the retirement pay equivalent to 194,089.46. Okay, so the retirement pay is actually exempted, no, from tax under Republic Act 7641, provided that the retiring employee has been in the service of the same employer for at least 10 years and is not less than 50 years of age at the time of his retirement. Okay, so in other words, if the employee has already served the company, the company for 10 years and he's already 50 years and above, then the employee can avail the retirement pay, no? That's based on RA 7641. And again, it is exempted to tax. And provided further that the benefits granted under this provision shall be availed of by an official or employee only once. So in other words, if you already avail the first paragraph, you already availed your retirement on one employer, and then you did not pay, you availed the exemptions from tax. But if you work after that, and then you still qualified for retirement, like for example, if you work for 5 years in that next company of yours, and then you resign for probably when you reach 60, and then since you qualified 5 years and 60 years old, then you can now still avail, no, the retirement. But on that second employer, since you already avail the exemption from tax on your first retirement, then you can no longer avail the exemption, no, under your second retirement, since this can only be availed once. Okay, so for the employees compensation program, this is actually under PD 626, no, or Presidential Decree 626. So employees compensation program, or for short it's ECP. It is actually a government program designed to provide a compensation package to public and private sector employee or their dependents in the event of work-related sickness, injury, disability, or death. So for the coverage of ECP, it covers all workers in the formal sector and then starts on the first day of employment. So employees in the private sector who are compulsory members of the SS with employer-employee relationship. So these are the benefits that you can get, no, of the ECP program or the ECP benefit, such as loss of income benefit or cash benefit given to worker to compensate for lost income due to his inability to work. You can also avail the medical benefits such as reimbursement of cost of medicine. Rehabilitation services includes physical therapy, carer's allowance provided to an employee who suffers from a work-connected or permanent partial and permanent total disability, and death and funeral benefits granted to beneficiaries in the event of work-related. So these are the kinds of disabilities: temporary, total disability, permanent partial disability, permanent total disability. So you just read those definitions, no, or descriptions on each kind of disabilities. Now, I just want to emphasize on this particular benefit, no. This actually is a benefit that may be availed by the or can be availed by the employee in cases of injuries or sickness. Now, I would like to emphasize on the injuries. So, injuries are those work-related injuries or accidents, no, while the employee is working. Okay, so if that is the circumstance wherein the employee encountered an accident while he's on duty or while on his work schedule, then the employee can avail this ECP program. Of course, there are requirements now. The employees need to submit a written report or incident report on that particular incident. And there should be a due process. I mean, an administrative hearing must be conducted to determine if there is negligence or not. So if there's no negligence, then the employee can avail ECP. But normally, as long as you complied all those requirements, the ECP will actually the ECC or the Employee Compensation Commission, no, will be the one to pay this particular benefit. Although you're going to file this through SS, and then SS will forward this to ECC or the Employee Compensation Commission. No? Okay, so now another circumstance wherein this ECP will be availed is when an employee, for example, after work, then he goes home, and then that particular employee encounters accident, no? Like, for example, if the employee is driving his car or motorcycle, then the employee encountered a motor vehicular accident, MVA, no? So, as long as there's no deviation, meaning after work he goes home directly, no, and then within that route he encountered accident, so that accident will still be covered by the ECP. Okay, and of course that's going home. And another circumstance is if the employee from his house or from his home and then went to his work, and within that he encountered accident, so that accident is also covered, no, with this benefit. Okay, so that's the ECP. Then another benefit is the PhilHealth benefits under RA or Republic Act 7875 as amended by Republic Act 9241. So the National Health Insurance Program or the NHIP, previously Medicare, no, is a health insurance program for SS members and their dependents, whereby the health subsidize the sick who may find themselves in need of financial assistance when they get hospitalized. And of course, for the benefits of PhilHealth, it's inpatient hospital care and outpatient care. Then another benefit is the Social Security benefits or the Republic Act 1161 as amended by Republic Act 11199 or the Social Security Program, which provides a package of benefits in the event of death, disability, sickness, maternity, old age, and unemployment. So basically, the SS provides for a replacement of income lost on account of the aforementioned contingencies. For the coverage, of course, private employees, whether permanent, temporary, or provisional. Okay, so since the government employees are covered under the GSIS law, no? Then for the employee to be entitled, he needs to be, or he has paid at least 3 monthly contributions within 12-month period immediately before the semester of sickness or injury. And then he or she has used up all company sick leaves with pay for the current year. And he or she has notified his employer. Okay, so these are the requirements for the employee to be able to claim this the SS benefit, no? And what are the benefits provided by the SSS? Of course, sickness for a maximum of 120 days in a calendar year. So confined in a hospital or at home for at least 4 days, no? Now, again, if you are just staying home because of sickness, the minimum number of days is 4 days, okay, for you to be able to file the SS benefit. However, if you only rest for, you were absent due to sickness just for 2 days or 3 days, you cannot file the SS benefit, no? Again, the minimum there is 4 days. And then there are also certain requirements, no, in terms of the notification, how many days. So with that, I want you to read the IIR, the implementing rules and regulations on this particular special law for you to learn more on the process, no, uh, in availing this SS. Then another benefits, maternity leave benefits, we already discussed that previously. And then disability, so the different kinds as shown earlier. And of course, for old age retirement, this is the requirement. A member should have paid at least 120 monthly contributions to SS prior to the semester of retirement, is qualified to receive a monthly pension of lifetime cash benefit. And then there's also this death and funeral benefits, and of course unemployment. Like for example, for this particular pandemic we are now into, there are again a lot of workers, no, who were put on layoff, placed on lay. They were laid off, no, or terminated. They can actually avail these unemployment benefits from SS. Sorry for the misspelled word. It should be pag-ibig, no? The letter G is missing. So pag-ibig benefits under RA 9679. The Home Development Mutual Fund is the agency, no, in charge with the pag-ibig benefit. They are otherwise known as pag-ibig, meaning pagtutulungan sa kinabukasan ikaw, bangko, industriya at gobyerno. It is a mutual provident saving systems for private and government employees and other earning groups supported by matching mandatory contributions of their respective employers with housing as the primary investment. So all employees who are or ought to be covered by the SS, provided that actual membership in the SS shall not be condition precedent to the mandatory coverage in the fund. Okay, so PhilHealth, EB, and SS are all mandatory benefits, no? Membership should be mandatory. However, as a member, if you want to be a member of Pag-ibig, it doesn't mean that you need to be a member also of SSS. So this is not a condition precedent to become a member of Pag-ibig. So that is what this statement means, no? For voluntary membership, so aside those employees who are employed in private sectors should be mandatory members now. But again, there's also this voluntary membership provided by Pag-ibig, wherein an individual at least 18 years old but not more than 65 years old may register, no, with the fund under voluntary membership. Okay, so you can pay voluntarily if you want to be a member of Pag-ibig. So what are the benefits under Pag-ibig? Of course, savings or provident savings programs, the short-term loan programs, and housing loans. So short-term, normally it's a salary loan, no? And again, all those benefits, there's also conditions to be complied with, no? But again, if you want to know further, I want you to read the special laws, no, for this one, RA 9679, especially the IRR. Okay, so this is the new SS contribution table. Now, how are you going to assess, to understand this table? This column is your compensation, or the basic pay. So assuming you are receiving 10,500, which fall under this range. Okay. So your employer share for this particular salary is 840. And of course, you also have your share, no? So it will be deducted from your salary, monthly salary. So it's 420. So if you can see, the employer share is much higher compared to your share, no, employee share. So the total remittance to SS for that particular salary is 1,260. And then this one is actually the ECC or the ECP program. This is paid by your employer, so each month they will pay 10 pesos. Okay, so the total contribution there is 1,270. So this is the monthly table. So again, you can refer to this table, whatever your compensation is when you start working. So as this is effective April 2019. So if you want to, if you're a self-employed like business owners, wherein you have your own businesses, this is the monthly salary credit, and of course the contribution that you can pay voluntarily if you want to be a member of SSS. And then this one is for PhilHealth. So this is the table. So for year 2020, if your salary is 10,000 a month, then the premium is 3%. So it will be 300. So you're going to pay this 300 pesos. Then for Pag-ibig, this is the table. So again, it depends on your compensation, monthly basic pay. So if it's 1,000 and below, 1,005 and below, the employee share is 1%, 2% for the employer. But if it's over 1,500, 2% for the employee share and 2% also for the employer share. Okay, so that ends our discussion for today. So next meeting we'll discuss other important provisions that we were not able to discuss, for this topic. Okay, so again, please don't forget to forward your questions in our group chat or our class video so that we can discuss that questions during our group weekly discussions. Okay, so that's all for now and have a good day.